I'm not in the mood to gatekeep, so I'm just going to teach you how to spend $5 a day on ads that actually give you a return in your business. As someone who has helped online educators make over $11 million, and I used to run an ads agency specifically for coaches, I'm going to share my 3 favorite ways that you could be spending $5 a day in your business. What most people don't understand, meta ads are an auction. Truthfully, any ad platform like Google or even Pinterest is an auction, but I want you to remember that. One of the most common questions is, well, how much do I have to spend? Like, how much does it cost for somebody to become a lead? There's industry standards based on your industry, but really, when you set your budget, what you are telling Meta is, this is my bid, okay? You are participating in an auction whenever you are giving money to an ads platform. That is an auction. So when you say, my budget is $5 a day, that is your bid. That is you saying, I'm willing to spend this much money to get in front of a certain kind of person. So that's where targeting comes in. And so we're going to talk about that when we get into the actual step-by-step of how to set up these campaigns. But I want you to think about that, because think about this. You cannot outbid Nike. You cannot outbid, I don't know, McDonald's. I don't know if I've ever seen a Meta ad for McDonald's, but any large company who is spending money on Meta ads, you probably can't outbid them, right? If your ideal person that you want to target with an ad is a 35-year-old woman who lives in the United States and is an engaged shopper, do you know how many other companies are trying to target that exact same person as you? And so your leverage point, how you can win against these companies, because Nike might be telling Meta, hey, I'm willing to spend $50 to get in front of that person, whereas you only have 5. Guess what? It's not always who can spend the most who will win. Sometimes it is. But your one point, your one advantage is that you are a human and you can win based on creativity, okay? So if Meta sees that people are responding to your ad better than they're responding to Nike's ad, if it's that same person, if that same avatar, that 35-year-old woman, if she finds your ad more interesting and engaging and relevant to her, they're going to favor that ad over Nike, even though Nike can spend more. Ultimately, Meta wants users to be having a good time, a good experience on the app. Keep that in mind. Where you can win is by being a real person. And remember, because it's social media, people connect with people, people buy from people. So show up as a real person and get creative, okay? This is stuff I've actually implemented with multiple clients and have had crazy results. Just a couple months ago, I was helping out a client who was running a course launch that she does every year. We spent about $600 on ads. That's it, by using a lot of the concepts that I'm going to teach you today, and made $13,000 in course sales. So there's 4 things I need you to do before we move forward, okay? These are non-negotiable that I need you to check these off. And if you don't check these off, do not pass go, do not collect $100. Take your time with this and make sure that you have all 4 of these conditions satisfied, okay? Number 1, understand that ads are not set it and forget it, okay? Most people who run ads in their business are dedicating at least a couple hours a week to the management or creation of ads, okay? So when I run ads for myself or clients, I'm checking stats every single morning and I'm keeping them updated in a Google Sheet so I can track them, so I can measure performance. I need you to be paying attention to how your ads are doing and monitoring if they're working or not, okay? Because if you don't know what you're doing with ads, it can be like gambling and throwing away money. And we do not want that. I do not want you losing money. What I want you to do is set aside at least an hour or 2 every week that you can dedicate to ad upkeep and creation, because your creative will fatigue. And I'm going to teach you where to look in your reporting to measure ad fatigue. So pause this and go to your calendar now and find an hour or 2 at least every week that you can dedicate to ad time, okay? It'll be well worth it, I promise. Now, number 2, I still want you showing up organically in stories, even when you're running ads. Here's why. Some people will see your ad and won't automatically take action on it. Sometimes they will be curious about who you are and they'll click over to your profile. So you will notice when you're running ads, your followers will likely go up anyway, because that's what happens when you run ads. You get more visibility, so you get more interest. So I want you to make sure that your bio is optimized. And I want you to show up organically in stories, even when you're running ads, because you will notice more and more people watching your stories when you have active ads. So some people may not take action on your ad or buy from your ad or do whatever it is you want them to do on your ad, but they may take that action once they've checked out your bio, watched your stories. So if they see you linking to your opt-in or whatever it is in your stories, they sometimes will take action there, not necessarily from your original ad. So show up in stories. People buy from people, so they want to see who's really behind this account. Number 3, have a privacy policy ready to go. Because even if you're not sending people to an opt-in page, Meta sometimes will still ask for you to link your privacy policy or your terms, for example. So one of our strategies is going to use a lead form. When you set up a lead form in Meta, you need to actually link your terms and conditions, okay? It's very important to Meta. They do not want people having a bad experience. And so even if you are linking to a registration page or an opt-in page, they will scan that page to see, do you have terms and conditions linked anywhere on the page? They do not want to be sending people to spammy pages, okay? So they want to see that you're legit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link where I got my terms and conditions and privacy policy from in the description, okay? And finally, if you are sending people to a page, understand that 99% of people will be going to your website or whatever page you're sending them to on their phone, okay, on their mobile device. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people will optimize their pages on their laptop, but they never even check it on their phone. But 99% of the people who you are sending to your pages are on their phone. So please, please, please pause this right now and check your website on your phone. Make sure that where you are sending people is mobile optimized, okay? Another thing I want you to do is to check your page speed load time. There are free tools from Google that can help you do this. So I'm gonna link that in the description and it will tell you if there's an issue with your page load time, okay? Because this is how people bounce. And you do not wanna be spending money sending people to a page that they just X out of because it's taking too long to load, right? And then bonus little tip here, which makes a huge difference, huge, do not ignore this. If you are sending people to an opt-in page, like for a webinar or a challenge or whatever it is, it can really, really help your opt-in rate if you add a proof widget onto your page. So I use Proof Source. I'll also link that in the description. But this is a little widget that you add that shows people, hey, so-and-so just opted in. So-and-so just opted in. It gives that social proof of like, oh, this is a good idea. Other people are doing this. This is trustworthy. I should do this too. All right, so it's time to choose your own adventure because this is not one of those $5 a day ad courses that gives you one scenario that may or may not work for you. I want to meet you where you're at and help you leverage what's already working for you. So there's 3 scenarios. So let's start with scenario A, the hidden gem. This scenario is going to be for you if you've already got a group of customers who love you, you have an offer that you know is proven and it works. So you've already got a proven coaching or course consulting business. You just know it's time to expand your followers, expand your reach, expand your email list. That's really, really important here. I find scenario A works well for my clients who really love showing up on social media. They're not necessarily extroverts, but they don't mind putting that on. So scenario A, the hidden gem, this is for you if you resonate with that, okay? Scenario B is what I call the quiet charmer. This might resonate with you more if you're a bit of an introvert. These are for those of you who already actually have an audience. We're already great at building community, but they don't necessarily want to feel salesy. This is for you if you're really good at creating that top of funnel or middle of funnel awareness content, but you're really, really resistant to asking for the sale or feeling too promotional. So you're really, really good at building community and you basically want the ads to do the selling for you. So this is going to be you, scenario B. Scenario C is how I started. Scenario C is for the new kids on the block. I had quit my job and I needed to make things happen fast. Scenario C, the new kid on the block, this is what I want you to do. If you're newer in your business, if you don't have a large audience, and you need a client like yesterday, scenario C is going to be for you. And please know there is no shame in this game. I've been there. So we kind of have to take the back door here, okay? So we're going to do this through a lead form and kind of get a little creative and highly leverage email and us being human and connecting with people one-on-one on the app. For any of these scenarios, please know, I want you to drill this into your head. An email subscriber is worth 40 times more than a social media follower, okay? For all of these scenarios, your email list will be the most valuable thing you can build at any time, okay? So even if you're getting leads or whatever you're shooting for here with the $5 a day ads, I still want you to focus on building up your email list because that's truly where you're going to be making your sales. All right, so let's set up our campaigns. Okay, so strategy 1, the hidden gem. So remember, this is for you if you already have a sales funnel that works, you're really strong already on building community, and you've got your education and nurturing down. It's just time to expand your audience. So here's what we're going to do. This strategy involves 2 phases, 2 campaigns. Okay, so number 1, we're going to do either an engagement or video views objective campaign to put your content that is already working well in front of new relevant audiences. And then the second part, the second campaign, is then retargeting those new people with the best next step in your funnel. So here's how we're going to do this. By definition, campaign 1 that we're going to show to new people, this is going out to a cold audience, people who don't know you exist yet. So there's lots of ways you can target these people in meta ads. You could do a lookalike audience, so an audience who is very, very similar to an existing customer list or an existing audience you already have. You could do an interest audience, so based off of, say, people who use Canva or people who are parents or are interested in cars, whatever it is. I don't love this audience. I actually do like Advantage Plus audiences. Advantage Plus is Meta's AI. And remember, Meta has thousands of data points, thousands more pieces of information about Meta users than we ever will. Now, up to you. You are welcome to test any of these different audiences. I would suggest, if you can, use a lookalike audience of your email list or your existing Instagram followers or your existing buyers. And then second best would be Advantage Plus. But again, test out for yourself if you like. So let's set up a lookalike audience. So if you go to Ads Manager, adsmanager.facebook.com, I want you to hover over the 3 lines, the little hamburger menu, and it should pull up audiences. If you don't see it in the sidebar here, just click All Tools and you can find it under Advertise. So click Audiences, and then we can go ahead and create our audience. So you're going to hit Create Audience, Lookalike Audience, and I'm going to create a new source. So Custom Audience. So what I did is I exported a CSV file of my email list. Okay, so that just is going to count as a customer list. This is fine. Click Next. And then I'm going to drag the CSV file. It does not include a column for customer value, but if you did have from your CRM, for example, a column that showed how much people have spent with you, click Yes. That would be awesome. And then I'm just going to call this email list from this date. Next. And then you're going to map, okay, this column is people's first name, and just match. This is you telling Meta what each of these columns that you've uploaded are. And then you're going to import and you'll be good to go. So then from here, you're going to click Create a Lookalike Audience. So this is going to create from the list you just uploaded a list of people who are 1%, who are similar, but are just 1% different, okay? Who match the profile of people you've uploaded, but it allows for 1% difference. You can test out different percentages, but 1% is going to be the closest. And then I would just say, like, let's just say what particular country. I'll just say United States. Okay, create. So this is going to be the cold audience that we are going to target with our first campaign. Now, because this first campaign is going to be encouraging people to interact with a video of ours, and then campaign 2 is going to be retargeting those people who have engaged with our content, what we need to do is now create an audience that will allow us to retarget those people who engage. So I'm going to go to custom audience, and then we're going to create one based off of either video or Instagram account. If you are going to be running a reel as your ad, choose video, and then I'll go and show you how to do this with just people who are engaged with your Instagram account. But for now, let's choose video, assuming we'll run a reel. So we're going to drive traffic to a reel that we know has worked well for us. So hit next, and then I want to do people who have viewed at least 50% of your video. Because I know if somebody watches half of a video of mine, they're probably warmer and more interested. If we just do the first 3 seconds, that could be like anybody who even hovers, but they may actually just swipe away and not be interested. So I want to do 50% to make sure they're actually interested. So let's say in the last 7 days, because I want to be retargeting people after they've seen my video. I just want to retarget them in that 1 week after so that they even remember my face. They remember who I am. Of course, if you're doing a big campaign, you could have this be like 365 days. So you could send an ad to anybody who's watched at least 50% of your video over the last year. But for this, I want this to be a pretty tight campaign. So I'm going to do 7 days. I want to show this ad to anybody who has viewed 50% of my video in the last week. So for name, I'm going to say 50% video views, 7 days. Okay. Oops, and I have to select video. So I'm going to switch to my Instagram account here. And let's just say that I want to use this video. Let's say this video worked well and it's relevant to my funnel, right? Don't put ad spend behind. I mean, hopefully you're not posting stuff that isn't relevant to your business, but make sure you're putting ad spend behind a really good video that has worked well for you. I'm going to create that audience. So this is going to be anybody who has watched 50% of that particular reel, okay? So if you don't necessarily just want to target video views, instead what I want you to do is custom audience, Instagram account, and then we'll do anyone who engaged with this account, so engage with your content, and we'll say over the last 7 days. So let's say we're going to show them a post and then we want to retarget them while they're still hot and we're still top of mind and they'll recognize our face. So I'm going to say within a week, audience name, IG engaged, 7 days. Okay. And this one is for any post. It does not make you choose a particular post. I'm going to create that audience. Okay. If you're like, hold up, what content do I post? Maybe I don't have great content for my business, or what I have just isn't going to cut it. What do I post? What content do I use? In your workbook for this course, your little guidebook, I've given you 20 ideas of content that you can use. That's going to be for your top of funnel awareness. And so honestly, even if you don't put ad spend behind it, I recommend you use these anyway. They really will make a difference in your business. So go check your course workbooks for that. Now let's set up our campaign. So head on over in your sidebar to campaigns. So you're going to hit the green button that says create, and we're going to select engagement. Continue. Do not do a tailored messages campaign, do manual engagement campaign. And for naming, I would recommend calling this something like step 1 or just 1, up to you. Engagement. If you like, you can put the date that you're starting this on. If you're doing this for someone else, I recommend putting your initials at the front so you know who did what. And remember what I said, campaign details, buying type, auction. Ads are an auction. Okay, keep Advantage campaign budget off, A/B test off. You only have to do special ad categories if you are in any of these, but that's likely not you. So then we can hit next. You can either hit the blue next button at the bottom, or you can just click in the top left where it says new engagement ad set. Okay. Your campaign level is like the big bucket where you select your objective for your campaign. Ad set is where you indicate your budget and your targeting, and then ad level is where you're actually inputting your creative. So if we go to your ad set, this is where you're going to put in for the name, lookalike, or if you do interest, or if you want to do Advantage Plus, that's up to you. But I would just put in essentially an indicator of the audience that you're targeting. So it's a lookalike of, email list. Conversion location, we are not going to leave it at message. We don't want people messaging us. That is one strategy you can do, especially for higher ticket coaching. If you have a setter who can set appointments for you and then you meet them on a sales call, that's totally fine. I don't like that. So I just want people to engage on the ad, okay? So there we go. We've switched it to on your ad. Now, engagement type, what it's asking you, what kind of engagement are you looking for? So if you are going to put ad spend behind a reel, I want you to select video views. If you're going to do a post or a carousel, I want you to choose post engagement. For this example, I'm just going to go with a reel. So I'm going to do video views. And then I'm going to maximize through play, just leave the cost per result goal, leave dynamic creative. That's fine. Daily budget. Okay. So I would do $2 a day for this. You could do 1 or 2, but I would do 2. So up to you. If you want to do $10 a day instead of $5 a day, that's fine. You can see how things go. But for right now, to stick in our $5 window, because remember, we have 2 campaigns here. So it's campaign 1, I'm going to do $2. It is best to start these in the morning because Meta needs time to optimize. So if it's already late in the day, I would set it to starting your next day at 6 a.m. I just wouldn't have it start at like midnight, right? Because not that many people are going to be up. I want to give it the best chance possible to optimize. So there we go. So you can scroll. So here, audience controls. This is where we are going to select who we are targeting. I will almost always click switch to original audience options, okay? It's really going to push you to use Advantage Plus. If you want to use the Meta AI, you absolutely can. I do recommend at some point in time that you experiment with it because I do really like it. I think it does a good job of finding the right people. But just to show you how this works, I'm going to choose use original audience. Okay, so down here, under your audience section, create new audience, custom audience. It gives you a few options here. Remember, we created the lookalike, so I'm going to select the lookalike tab, and I'm going to select the lookalike of our email list. You can do this if you want. I'm going to leave this on because it still really wants you to use the AI to optimize. So I'm actually going to leave that on here because I think it does a decent job. Included location, Canada, but I also want to target people in the United States. The United States tends to be a good audience, so I would recommend targeting them when you can. Age, I'm just going to say 25 to 50. Typically tends to be my buyer, but this is up to you. You have to know who are you targeting, who's your buyer. All genders is fine with me. Yeah. I would not indicate interests. This, I truly want to just test the lookalike on its own. Placements, I tend to leave it as Advantage Plus placements because I just trust it. Like if you can get me a good result in a certain placement, that's totally fine. Some people only want it on like stories or reels. I personally just let Meta do its thing. They have really good data, so I just leave that as Advantage Plus placements. But if you wanted to edit and indicate only where you want it to go, that's fine. I just leave it. So you can go to next. So now we've done our campaign level, we've done our ad set level, and now we're going to the ad level. Ad level is where we do our creative. So this is where I'm going to pull in my reel about launch season. We're just going to pull in that creative. Now, make sure that you have your correct Facebook page and Instagram account indicated. And then here, I'm not going to create an ad. I'm going to use an existing post, okay? So I'm going to select the post, and it was on Instagram. So up here, Instagram, and it'll pull in stories and everything. So filter by Reels. I just want to see my reel. Select the reel that you made your custom video views audience for. Now, primary text, that's your caption essentially. So it's going to pull in the caption that you wrote on your post. And then you can add up to 5 variations so it can test which caption is going to work best. You can also just use any of the AI generated ones that it has. So I don't like this one. Marketing managers tailored, launch like a pro, fine. You got this, new entrepreneur, no. So you can look through the AI generated ones, run them or not. Some of them are pretty cheesy. Boosters, no. Okay, anyway, so this is just an example. I probably won't even run this, so whatever, you can go through that. Now, call to action. This is the button. This is the button that is on your ad. I don't want send message. I want no button because remember, I'm not sending them anywhere. I just want them to engage on this reel. I want them to watch this reel. Tracking is where you're going to select your data set. So click website events so that it uses your pixel data. So select website events. You should see your pixel set up here. If you don't have a pixel or don't know how to set one up, there's probably a billion YouTube videos on how to do that. Or if you want me to make a video on that, comment and let me know. So now what I can do is press publish. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to go through its checks so that Meta can make sure that this aligns with its guidelines. Remember, we scheduled it to start running tomorrow at 6 a.m. So even if it gets approved now, it's not going to start running until we've scheduled it. If you didn't change the time of the day, it'll just start running as soon as it's approved. My rule for you, do not touch this ad in the first 24 hours. You are going to be watching it like a hawk. You're going to be really tempted to fiddle with it. You're going to be stressed about it. Do not touch it for the first 24 hours, okay? It needs time to optimize, and it might take some time to start feeding out. Okay, so we have set up step 1. Step 2, we are going to retarget people who watch that reel, okay? So we're going to go back to campaigns. We're going to hit the green create button. Campaign 2, we are retargeting the people who are watching our reel from campaign 1 or who have engaged with our post from campaign 1. So what you want to retarget them with is up to you. You could either retarget them with more middle of funnel content that's like a get to know me or more educational style piece of content. A carousel could work really well here. And then, side note, those automations like ManyChat still work when you run an ad. So if you do anything like that and this piece of content says, hey, follow me, or hey, comment keyword below and I'll send you a thing. If you have a piece of content like that, that's more middle of funnel, educational nurturing that has already worked really well, that could be a really good piece of content to run as an ad here to retarget the new cold people that we're bringing into our world. And remember, you're showing up on stories organically this whole time, so you could absolutely be selling in your stories. And this is how you could be making sales literally with just $5 in visibility spend per day. But if you want to run ads straight to get leads rather than doing it from content, you could still do that. I would just expect, if we've got like $3 left because we're spending $2 a day on campaign 1. So we've got $3 left for campaign 2. At $3, you'd probably get 1 email opt-in a day for that, which honestly, I still think for $5 a day, that's pretty great. An email subscriber will cost you ideally no more than $5. So I get them for between 1 to 4 usually, 1 to 3, 1 to 4. So with our remaining $3, I absolutely think you could be running a lead campaign. Just don't expect like 50 leads a day. So you could either set up campaign 2 here to be a lead form, an instant form, a lead form. You'll see them referred as both, which I'm going to show you actually how to do that in strategy 3 for the new kid on the block. So if that's what you want to do, it's probably the cheapest way to get leads. Then go on to strategy 3, new kid on the block. But if you don't want to set up a lead form, which is like a form that just pops up within Meta so they never have to leave the platform, you're not sending them to your website, go watch strategy 3. If instead you do want to be sending them off platform to your website, then you would still use the leads campaign. If you want to do what I said, if you just want to send them more nurturing content and then be selling in your stories, then I would be running engagement, okay? And then for this one, you would just load in your content and retarget the people who engaged with campaign 1. But what we're going to do in this example is I'm going to show you how to send people to your website for free opt-in because we want to get them on your email list. So this strategy means that you need to have good emails to be selling people from your email list. If you're like, Kaylee, I don't have a good email opt-in sequence to warm people up and get them buying my stuff, I've got that covered for you. I've got a free sequence you can download, kayleeswigard.com/emails. So we're going to do leads, continue. Again, manual leads campaign. So I'm going to call this 2 lead gen retargeting because we're retargeting people from campaign 1. I'm leaving campaign budget, Advantage Plus off, A/B test off. We are not a special ad category, so we can go on next to the ad set. So here I'm going to do my video views 50% retargeting, right? Because in campaign 1, I was sending people to watch this reel, and now I want to be retargeting the people who watched 50% of that in the last 7 days. Remember, again, if you want to learn how to set up an instant form, go to strategy 3. Right now, I'm just going to select website because I'm going to send them to a free opt-in page. Maximize number of conversions. I'm going to use my pixel. So conversion event. Here's what we're going to do. This is advanced. This is stuff they're not going to show you in even like the paid $5 a day courses, okay? So what you're going to do is we're going to go to our sidebar here. I'm going to go to Events Manager, and I'm going to teach you how to set up a custom conversion so that you can accurately track your opt-ins, okay? So you're going to go to Custom Conversions in your Events Manager, and we're going to click Create Custom Conversion. And so what this is going to do is I'm telling Meta that when people land on a certain URL on my website, which is going to be the confirmation page URL, it means somebody has opted in, right? Because only people who opt in for my freebie are going to ever see that confirmation page. So I'm going to call this, so I have a free content challenge opt-in, okay? That's what this conversion is going to be. It's on my website. Here under rule, this is where I have to tell it what specific URL I'm talking about. So I'm going to put in this URL, content challenge confirmation, because the only people who see this page are going to be people who opted into my content challenge, right? This is the confirmation, like, congrats, your free challenge is on its way to your inbox. So I'm going to grab this URL and I'm going to put that in here, in the URL, okay? It contains. I'm not going to say equals. I wanted to say contains because sometimes, especially with meta ads, it'll have different URL parameters, like a string of other letters or words at the end of this based on where they're coming from. So I don't want to have that mess anything up. So I'm going to say contains instead of equals, okay? As long as it has this, I know that they opted into the free content challenge, okay? So I'm going to hit create. So now I have this free content challenge opt-in, and it says inactive because I just made it. So now I can optimize for these challenge opt-ins. So I'm going to go back over to my campaigns, and I'm going to click into campaign 2, lead gen retargeting. Just click the title, and it'll bring you to the ad set. So then here I'm going to click edit. Okay, so I'm going to go back to where I was. So conversion event, it's saying, what do you want people to do? What do you want to optimize for here? So we just made that custom conversion. And then remember, it's under inactive because I just made it. So it's this free content challenge opt-in. Okay. You can leave the cost per result goal. You can turn off dynamic creative. So again, I'm going to do $3 a day. So I've got my $5 now. I would expect probably only one opt-in. It's saying, and don't worry too much about this. It's saying this is a really low budget. I know, it's fine. Remember, this is one strategy. You can try this. It may be better off at $5 to show people more nurturing content and then interact with them organically. This is up to you. I just know I get opt-ins at less than $3 for this. So I know I'm likely to get at least one opt-in a day at this rate. So then here, remember, under audience controls, I'm going to switch to original audience opt-ins. So I'm going to use original audience. And I'm going to go to my, remember, 50% video views, 7 days. So we just made this. So 50% video views, 7 days. So that's going to be people who specifically watch 50% of that video we are running ads to in campaign 1 over the last 7 days. Okay. I don't mind leaving Advantage Plus on. This means it could reach people who did not watch that. I don't care really, because I find Advantage Plus ultimately wants to get you your results. So like, if you can get me a result, even outside of that targeting, that's fine with me. Locations, again, I'm going to indicate United States as well. You can put in like whatever you want in here. And then age, whatever. I'm lax on age here because like in theory, we're just retargeting people that we already specified their age in campaign 1. So that's fine with me. Placements, I don't care. Next. So this is where we're doing our ad creative. This I will say like graphic. I just want to describe what creative am I using just so when I'm looking at my reporting, I know how this ad is performing. So I already know what graphic I'm going to use. Me in an orange dress. Okay. Now, if you have an existing post that like promotes your free opt-in, you can absolutely pull that in just like we did in campaign 1, or you could create the ad. So I'm going to show you how to create an ad. So I'm going to leave it as manual upload, single image. And then where am I sending people? I'm going to send people to my content challenge. So I'm going to put in your URL. Your destination URL is where do you want people to go? What is the URL of your opt-in? And then just leave, no, we don't want any browser add-ons. So add creative. I'm going to set up an image ad. Now, this is really annoying. Sometimes it will go to your website that you've input and it'll try to like pull in a bunch of random stuff. I just make sure branding is off, site links off. It's really annoying and stupid. You're going to go to next. Okay, media. So this is where you could upload. You could just go to Canva and make some ad creative. Spoiler alert, if you need inspiration for ad creative, just Google Facebook ads library, and then you can look at any ad of anybody that you like that's running. And that's a really great place to get ad inspiration. Again, just Google Facebook ads library. Here it's showing me everything I've uploaded. So let's just say I've got, actually, I'll do this creative, even though I said orange dress. I'm just going to use this creative because I've already got it here. So I'm going to do next. And then it's going to ask you to adjust for just if it shows on different sizes. I'll do that. Okay. Next. And then this is where you would put in, the primary text is your caption, and you can do up to 5 of them. Headlines, you can do up to 5. And then don't worry about description. Call to action is your button. So for button, I always like to do learn more. You can do download. I wouldn't do anything else. But again, this is one of the things you are absolutely welcome to test. I just like to do learn more. So if you guys need inspiration for your headlines or your captions, check your workbook. I've given you some that I've actually used that have worked really well. So you can go steal those, go adapt them to your own business. Okay. So again, once you put some in, it's going to show you some AI generated options. If you like them, you can leave it or you can deselect, up to you. And it's going to do the same for headlines. So sure. I don't mind these. So I'm going to do all of those. Description is just under your headline. I don't even bother putting anything there. So we can hit next. Image generation is just AI variations. I don't actually mind these. You can test out. Like if you want to try different image variations, fine. Sometimes they look good, sometimes they don't. So up to you if you want to select them or not. And then enhancements is like music and stuff. I just leave it. So I hit done. So now you have loaded in your creative. I'm just going to change this title to reflect my actual image. Okay, so we have set that up. We have our pixel selected here. URL parameters are good if you do want to track where your leads are coming from. Campaign name, I'm just going to put campaign name. These just append these parameters to the end of the URL when somebody clicks on them so you know where they're coming from. So ad name and then placement. Okay, so apply and I'm going to publish. Side note, you can get really fancy here with excluding people from your audience who've already opted in. It's a little more advanced. I'm not going to go into it in this, but if you do want to see that, comment and let me know, and I'm happy to make a video on how to do that. So strategy 2, the quiet charmer. This is the strategy that I've used to help a client get like $1.30 in webinar leads, okay, which is really good. And so this is a strategy. If you already have a proven offer, a proven funnel, you already have an audience. And the idea here is that they already know who you are. Like these people would know your face, like they already follow you, but they just need a little bit more middle of funnel nurturing content to really get to know you, to develop that no trust factor. So that's what this campaign accomplishes. So this campaign does not use new content. Like we're not making new content for this. We're going to pull in existing content that is already working well to get you the result you want. So for the example campaign I gave where I got $1.30 webinar leads, we put ad spend behind organic content that she was already using to promote this webinar, okay? It was a reel that had the call to action in the caption of comment code word, and I'll send you the link to go sign up for this webinar. So for this campaign, step 1 is to go post that content. And in your course workbook, I'm actually going to give you some really good content ideas for this middle of funnel nurturing, but I'm also going to give you right now the exact prompt that this client used that worked really well to get webinar leads. The prompt was, it took me 6 months to learn this about your niche, but I can teach it to you in 6 seconds. And the caption had problem and solution awareness with a call to action to the webinar. And this was text over B-roll. So that's a really great proven one to use for middle of funnel education. But if you don't like that one, go check the course workbook. There's other ideas in there for you. So that's step 1, go make and post that content. And if you don't have a webinar going on right now, just take what is the best first step? What's the best way for people to get into your world? And then go make a piece of organic content promoting that. So what we're going to do, step 1 for this campaign is go to your ads manager, adsmanager.facebook.com. And then we're going to go to audiences so we can create a custom audience. So we're going to hit audiences. So then for this targeting, we're actually going to target your full warm audience, not just off of Instagram. And so here's what I mean. We're going to hit create audience. We're going to create a saved audience of several custom audiences. So we just want to we want to create a custom audience everywhere that you would already have a warm audience. So where are people finding you already? So for example, on your website, maybe you've already been sending people to your website. Maybe they're just finding it. Maybe you're sending people to different lead magnets. Maybe they're checking out your coaching, whatever. We're going to hit next after website, and then it'll be your pixel, all website visitors. I like to do within the last 180 days. That's the maximum, but you could do 30 or 90 if you wanted, but that's fine. Audience name, I'm going to do website visitors, 180 days. So now we've got a custom audience where we could target anyone who's visited our URL, our website URL within the last 6 months. So we're going to create that audience. We're just going to leave that for now. Now I'm going to create another custom audience. So where else would your warm audience be? Do you have an email list? Hopefully you do. So export your email list as a CSV file and then upload that as a customer list. So you would hit this and then upload your CSV file, and then you would have your email list in here. So you could target those people on your email list. And then it's also really important that You also make a custom audience for your Instagram account. So anybody who's interacted with your Instagram, you could also do it with your Facebook if you want, but let me show you Instagram account. So Instagram account, anyone who's engaged, make sure you've got your Instagram account selected here. Anyone who's engaged with this account in the last 365 days. I'm going to do that. And I will just call this engaged 365 days and create audience. Done. So now what we do, now that we've created a bunch of custom audiences, we're going to compile them all into one saved audience, and we're going to call this our warm audience. So it's going to be awesome because we're going to be able to target all of these people, whether they've visited our website or they've interacted with our Instagram or they've ended up on our email. However they've found us, they're part of our warm existing audience. So we're going to put them all into one audience that we can target with our ads. So I'm going to call this warm audience, and we'll just say which countries. For example, I'll just use Canada and United States. Let's say we only want to include people who are of a minimum age. Okay. Now, what you could do, let's say we don't want to show this ad to people who have already registered for our webinar or who already are clients. What I want you to do is you have to create a separate custom audience of your clients, and then I would just want you to put them here to exclude them because you don't want to waste money by showing ads to people who've already bought from you, unless it's for something else. But I don't want to send, say, for example, webinar registration ads to people who have already signed up for that webinar. So if you have any questions about that, just comment and let me know, and I'll sell like an in-depth how-to about how to make these exclusion audiences. But what I'm going to do is pull in custom audiences. So here, so remember, we're making a saved audience of our custom audiences. So I'm going to pull in, we'll say website visitors in the last 180 days, Instagram engaged 365. I'll say email list. Okay, so all these people from website, Instagram, email are all going to be part of this one list, this one audience that I've called a warm audience. Okay. Yeah. Age, let's say my customers tend to be between 25 and 50. I have men and women, but if you only want women, that's fine. I don't bother putting detailed targeting because remember this is already an existing group of people who are already in our world. So I don't want to exclude anybody too much. So create that saved audience. So now I have a warm audience that I can specifically target with this campaign. So we are now going to go put ad spend behind content that is already working. Okay, so we're going to go over to campaigns and we are going to click create. So this one, remember, it's only $5 a day. So I'm going to do engagement because remember, the call to action on this piece of content is already in the content. It's likely going to be in your caption. Okay, so if you have many chats set up, this will still work with that. So what my client did is I think her caption said, tap the link in my bio to sign up for this webinar, and it worked really well. So you do engagement, continue, manual engagement campaign. So I like to name it with the objective, engagement, and then you could do the date. And then I like to say, what is the ultimate outcome? So you could say webinar. Say this is to promote your webinar, whatever. Okay, next. So ad set is where we indicate our targeting and our budget. So targeting, I like to have the name be who I'm targeting. So this is going to be my warm audience. I'm going to call it warm audience. Conversion location. I don't want to do messaging. Messaging you could do if you're a high ticket coach and you want to book a sales call. But here we just want people to, I want to say, get people to engage with your website, but you could also just have people engage on the ad. Up to you. Okay, conversion event. What is the acts that you want them to do? So if it's to opt in for your webinar, I want you to put in a custom conversion that's based on the URL of your webinar confirmation page. Here's how to do that. You're going to go to your events manager. It's really easy. Don't get stressed. You're going to go to events manager, custom conversions. And this is really cool because this is where you get to tell Meta specifically what you want to optimize for. So you're going to hit create custom conversion. And then let's say it's for your webinar opt-in. I would specify which webinar if you do multiple ones, but as an example, webinar opt-in, and it's on your website. So I want you to put in the URL of your confirmation page. So if you're sending people to a webinar opt-in, a free resource opt-in, whatever it is, whatever the URL of your confirmation page is, I want you to put that URL in here. URL contains, and then your URL. Okay, don't put it as equals, because sometimes if you're sending people there from your ad or from anywhere else, sometimes you'll have URL parameters that append different things to the end of your URL. And so I don't want to say equals, because I'm like, what if things are added that I can't control? So I'm going to say URL contains, and then, so let's just say it was like, I think everyone was like content challenge confirmation. Whatever the URL of your confirmation page is, put that in here. I like to indicate that it's a lead, but honestly, you could just leave it. So then we're going to create. So once you've done that, we'll go back to our campaign. So I'm going to go back into my ad set. And I'm going to go back down here to conversion events. You're going to select the conversion event you just created. It might be under inactive because if you just made it, it's new, so it won't have anything to show you. So let's just say it's this one for sake of argument. You can leave dynamic creative off, and then we're going to do our $5 a day. If it's late at night, change this to the next day at 6 a.m., okay? Because we want to start this ad when people are online. We don't want to start it in the middle of the night when most people are going to be sleeping, because we want to give it a good chance to optimize. So if it's late at night, just start it the next day at 6 a.m. And then remember, we're going to use a saved audience. So under audience controls, we're going to pull in that warm audience that we made. So here we go, warm audience. And so it pulls in everything we've specified. Age, geography, that's fine. And then I leave it as Advantage Plus placements, okay? I'm like, I don't care where you get a conversion as long as you get a conversion. So we've got everything set up. So then we can hit next and set up the actual ad. And then for your ad name, I want you to describe, so you know what you're looking at when you look at your reporting. Describe your reel. So it's like your reel, say it's like your webinar promo, 6 things. Something descriptive so you would know which one it is. And then make sure that you've selected your correct profiles, your Facebook page, your Instagram account. And then under ad setup, we're going to use existing posts. So remember, you're going to use a piece of content that is already proven to work well to promote your thing organically. So we're going to select a post. And then let's say I want to go on Instagram, and we'll do a feed post, or I could do whatever, carousel. The thing with when you want to pull in a carousel from an existing post, even though organically you can post a carousel with 20 slides, if you want to pull it into Meta Ads Manager, it can only have a maximum of 10 slides. So that's something that's really annoying that you have to remember. So let's just say carousel. Let's see if there's any carousels here. This one I know has more than 10. That one has more than 10. Okay, let's just see. Does this carousel fewer than 10? It'll tell you like too many child elements up here if it has too many slides. Yeah, see, child attachments has too many elements. So if you see, this means your carousel that you've pulled in has more than 10 slides, so you can't use it, which is really annoying. I don't know if I'd even make carousels with less than that. Let's just see, do I have less of this? Okay, I think that, yeah, there we go. The warning has gone away. Okay, and then primary text, remember that's your caption. So it pulls in what's already there. And here you can see that this is me saying, hey, comment below to get my free thing. If you have ManyChat set up for this, it'll still work, which is awesome. Or you'll also get an alert, like you can check in your alerts when people are commenting, and you can still respond to comments on an ad, which is really awesome. Website URL, let's just say this is my opt-in page for this. It's not, but this is just an example. And then call to action, this is your button. So I would do learn more usually. You can experiment, but I find, and I've run a lot of ads for me and other people, learn more tends to work the best. Tracking, it should pull in your pixel. And then I do like to use URL parameters. You would just select, say, campaign content. So I just do ad name, campaign name, source, I do placement. So if you don't know what URL parameters are, that's fine. but I like them. They can tell if you do get conversions, they can tell you where people came from. Okay, and then we can hit publish, and that is strategy 2. Again, if this is working well and you're getting results from this, you can absolutely scale this and increase your budget. I wouldn't increase it too much. That's a whole other video. If you want a video about how to scale your ads, let me know. But yeah, if your ads are working and getting you a good cost per lead or really good result, whatever you're optimizing for, you don't have to just leave it at $5 a day. So strategy 3 is near and dear to my heart because it's one that I use all the time, and it's the new kid on the block. And I really had to rely on this when I quit my job pretty randomly. I needed a business really fast. And so this is what I did. In addition to posting organically, this is the cheapest way that I have found to get leads via ads. And so I even did this recently in preparation to make this course, and I was getting leads for like $1.82. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly what I did, but there's really 2 ways you could go about this strategy. So number 1 is just going for straight up leads like I did, because I'm a little impatient. But what you could also do is run a follower campaign, and then you take the initiative to reach out to those new followers and start a DM conversation. And then if it naturally progresses, like you have a free opt-in you can offer to them that might help them out, you just send them that link in the DM. And then oftentimes you'll get a really high conversion rate that way because people buy from people. And it's rare that people actually make an effort to have those personal connections on Instagram these days. So this can work really well. So the reason I've clumped these 2 together is because it takes a little bit of hustle, because this is typically what people who have less of an audience will do, right? Because you're not retargeting a warm audience. You're not retargeting a large audience that you may already have. So this is a bit of a backdoor guerrilla marketing kind of thing. You're doing what is required, okay? And so this is why you will get results when other people who aren't doing what is required aren't getting results, okay? So number 1, I'm going to show you how to do the meta lead form option, and then I'm going to show you how to do the followers to DM option. Now, both of these, really ultimately, the point of these is to get people onto your email list, and then you sell from your email list. Now, after people opt into your free thing, you can have an upsell on that confirmation page for sure. That's what I do. And some people will buy, but most people won't. So the point is to get these people on your email list, and then you have them there to nurture them, right? They may not buy in that first couple of weeks, right? They might be on your email list for a couple of years, some of these people, but you never know. Sometimes in this crop of people, there's people who are ready to get started now, okay? So here's how we go about creating a lead form ad. So we're going to hit create. We're going to select leads. And so it's the instant form that we see here. So leads, continue. And we're going to do manual leads campaign. Okay. And the lead form is basically a form when they click that they want your thing, it opens up a way for them to input their details or contact information within the app. And it gets it to you that way rather than them having to leave the app and go to your website to then fill in your stuff. Meta does not particularly want people leaving the app. It's more of a seamless experience, the lead form. So this is why you tend to get cheaper leads this way. So I'm going to call this, lead form. And then, this one clearly I've already done, 10-day content challenge, but whatever your free thing is, just name it, whatever you're trying to drive people to. Okay, we're going to leave AdVantage campaign budget off, A/B test off. Special ad categories is if you're a politician or something, probably not you. So we're going to hit next, and we're going to go to the ad set level. Now we're going to select instant forms here. Generate leads by asking people to fill out a form. Okay, instant form. The ad set is where we indicate targeting and budget. So I want to indicate here, who am I targeting? By the way, you could actually, if you have a warm audience, like people who've interacted with your Instagram, maybe interacted with your Facebook page, maybe you have SEO set up and people are going to your website, but you don't have them on your email list yet, you could always just target people who have already interacted with your Instagram account, for example, and then this would be a way to get their email. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a cold audience. It doesn't necessarily have to be brand new people who've never heard of you. It could be people who've already heard of you. Maybe they already follow you, If they've already interacted with your stuff, they just haven't joined your email list yet. So I'm not super picky here about if you are targeting a cold audience or a warm audience. That's up to you. Let's just say this will be email list lookalike. Let's just say this. I'm going for a cold audience here. So I'm going to target people who are similar to my email list. And in strategy 1, we set up our email list lookalikes. If you're not sure how to do that, go watch strategy 1. There's a step-by-step walkthrough. So email list lookalike, performance goal, we're going to maximize the number of leads. Now, you do not have to necessarily set up your CRM integration, because what this means, CRM is customer relationship management tool. Because think about it. If we are getting leads on the Meta platform, somehow we have to get that name and email, those people's contact information, we have to get those to our email service provider. I use Kit. It is by far the best. Highly recommend. I've recommended it for coaches in the industry for over 10 years. It is by far the best in terms of deliverability and automations and things you can do with it. And I find it works really well with lead forms. I'll leave a link to Kit in the description. Highly recommend. And so with Kit, it doesn't interface directly with Meta. I use Zapier to send the contact information from the Meta lead form to my email service provider, which is Kit, okay? There are certain CRMs that do integrate specifically with Meta. You can click that here if you want to check that out. There aren't that many. I think it's like Salesforce or something that does. But you could do that. You could set that up in Events Manager. I just know most coaches don't actually use a true CRM. So if you're just using like ActiveCampaign or Flowdesk or Kit, you're going to have to set up a Zapier automation for this, which is what I do. And I'll show you how to do that. Don't worry. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to keep dynamic creative off. Daily budget, $5. And I'll just let it run now. Again, if it's late at night, set it to start the next day at 6 a.m. because we want to start this ad off when people are online, not when they're sleeping. Okay, and then here under audience controls, you can just specify who do you want to send this to. So remember, we can down here, it's hidden, to switch to original audience options. That's what I like to do. I just find it's a lot easier. But you could do Advantage Plus. I really like Advantage Plus. It's good to experiment with. But I want to show you if I wanted to pull in my email list lookalike, like I said, I would go to custom audiences, and then I could select a email list lookalike here. If I wanted to just use Advantage Plus, I could just select that and I would just rename it like Advantage Plus, just see how it's going. We'll test that out, see how it goes. Okay, Advantage Plus, but I want that to be in Canada and the United States. You could do wherever you like. But Canada and the United States tend to be fairly reliable audiences. Okay, Advantage Plus. And the reason why I'm comfortable using Advantage Plus is that I have a lot of data on my Pixel. My Pixel has been on my website and used to collect data about my people, my audience, for many years. So Meta has a really good idea of who my people are. So I just let it do its thing with Advantage Plus. Don't believe the fear mongers who don't use Advantage Plus because they're scared. Honestly, in my tests, Advantage Plus tends to get really good results. So even with placements, I just leave Advantage Plus on because that's Meta's AI, who I'm like, if you can get me a better cost of result, do that. That's fine, man. I don't care where they're converting if they're converting. So I'm going to do next. So now we're at the campaign level. I'm just going to say this is a lead form. Yeah. Okay, so we've got our Facebook and our Instagram selected, and then ad set up, because you still need to attach a creative, like an image or something to this that people are going to click on. So I'm going to create an ad. If you have an existing post that works really well for this already organically, you could select use existing post and then just select that and it'll be great. That's what I recommend. If you have an organic piece of content that's already worked well, that's always going to be your best ad creative, okay? I'm going to select create ad. I'll do a single image or video. Okay, and now you're going to go down to destination. Destination is where are you sending people? Remember, we are sending people to this form, not off platform, to your website. So you can hit create form. Now, if you've ever created a form for this before, you'll see it under active. If you don't have a form created yet, what you're going to do is hit create form. And then I would just title this, whatever your like freebie opt-in is, just call it that so you know what this is for. Now, up to you. Do you want a form that's easy to fill out on a mobile device, or do you want to make people have to verify their contact information with a one-time passcode? I'm just going to do more volume because I personally find it really annoying when I have to go check my phone or go find the passcode. I just really don't like that personally, but you absolutely can if you want to. I just do more volume. I just leave this flexible form delivery. That's totally fine, but you can experiment with manual if you want. I just do optimize. That's totally fine. Next. Okay. Headline. So this is what I do. You can steal this. Claim your free spot in the challenge and grow your reach. Because they'll have already seen the creative that talks about my free 10-day content challenge. So this, when they click the form, this is what they're going to see on the right-hand side here. Claim your free spot, and then description, just fill out your name and best emails on the next slide, and I'll deliver the challenge right to your inbox. Something like that, whatever you want. Next, okay. I don't want to add a bunch of questions because the more friction you add here, the fewer people are actually going to complete this. So I just want their contact information, and I don't need their full name. I just want their first name. So I'm going to remove full name and I'm going to add first name. And I also don't need phone number because I'm not going to be texting them or verifying. So I'm going to do email and first name. So you can hit next. And then remember, I told you, you have to have your privacy policy good to go. So I'm going to go grab the link to the privacy policy on my website. Okay, so I put that in there. And we can hit next. And then this is where you can add an upsell if you like. Most people aren't going to hit this, but you might get a few who do. So headline, you really want to call out that there's a next step they can take. So acknowledge what they've done. Congrats or awesome, way to go. The challenge is being sent to you. But before you go, oh, did I run out? Oh, there's only 60. Okay, so I'll do yay. But before you go, I put together the exact, just write a little blurb about what's the really juicy nugget they need to know about your upsell if you have one. So I put together the exact steps I took to get booked out organically as a coach. Want to see how I did it? And then you would just put the link to your upsell here, a page, say, yes, I want to be booked out. Okay, whatever call to action. Yeah. If you are a high ticket coach and you want to book a sales call, you could absolutely start a conversation on Messenger. That would be really good, especially if you have an appointment setter. That's what I would do if I was high ticket and I wanted to be booking sales calls. I would start these conversations in Messenger. Remember, people buy from people. So part of this strategy is getting these conversations going. So you can create that form. And it's saying I have a problem with questions. Oh, right. Okay. Description. This info will be used to send you your free content challenge. Yay. Okay. Now we can move on. Next. Create form. Okay. There we go. That was our example. So you can select that form. And then we want to set up our ads. Them agreeing to send messages, so we can send a message after they opt in. This would be really awesome to follow up. You can say, hey, here's the direct link to the thing you opted in for. Just wanted to make sure you got it. And that would be a really great way to get that conversation going. Like, hey, what made you sign up for this today? Or, hey, would you mind letting me know what's your biggest challenge when it comes to thing? Or is there any other way I can help you out with this thing? Okay, so add creative. I'm going to upload my graphic Okay, next. And that looks fine to me. Next. Okay, so here's where you would put in your headline and your caption. In your course workbook, I've given you examples that have worked really well for me. It'll allow you to add up to 5 headlines. So I do recommend putting in all 5 if you can, because it'll pick the one that gets the best results for you. Here we go, just as an example. And then, yeah, in your workbook, I've also given you options for primary text, which is just your caption essentially. And then it's up to you if you want to apply all of the AI variations. Again, you can add up to 5. So I would do that if you can. Okay, description, I don't bother adding. That's just under your headline. You can use it if you want. And then call to action is your button. I like to do learn more, but sign up, you can see if that works well for you as well, or any of these other options. I just find learn more tends to work the best. Next, image variations, or just does AI get you a better result? I don't know, pick the ones that you don't mind. I'll just do the one. Enhancements for music and movement. I'm not going to bother with that. Okay, so we're going to double check everything. Fine. Tracking, I'm going to do website events because I still want this connecting with my pixel. And then URL parameters, just so I can see if I do get people opting in or buying, I can see where they're coming from. Campaign name, content, do bad name, and source is where they're coming from, which is the placement. Okay, apply. So I'm going to publish. No, I'm going to show you. Remember, I don't have my CRM because I don't have a CRM. I don't have a true CRM. I don't have that connected with Meta. So I'm going to show you how I get leads when people opt in to this lead form, how I get those people automatically into Kit. So I use Zapier, but you could use Make or any other automation thing. So in Zapier, you're going to create a new Zap. And what's really cool is you can just tell the AI Copilot that will come up. You can literally just type in, when somebody opts into my Meta lead form, I want them added to Kit as a subscriber. And then it will, that's what I did for this, and it created it for me essentially. So you just have to go in and just tweak a couple things to make sure that it's set up properly. So for this one, I'm using Facebook lead ads, and I'm saying whenever a new lead comes in from my account, from this form, it'll allow you to select your form. Then what happens? Then it's going to add that subscriber to a form in Kit. And I'm saying, add them to this form. So I've got a form in ConvertKit. Whatever needs to happen in order for people to receive their lead magnet or whatever it is, it could be tag them, add them to a form, whatever it is. You can just indicate with that email platform, what do you want to happen? I said, I want to add them to a form. And then you're just going to say, hey, their email from Facebook is going to be the email in Kit. And then their name from Facebook is going to be their name in Kit. And honestly, we use the AI Copilot. This will mostly be set up for you. And then I'm just saying here, I also want to tag them because I have a form and a tag. But you'll do whatever you have set up in your email service provider for your business. If you guys want a video more about how to use Zapier in depth for this, for lead form or anything at all, just let me know. Honestly, it's fairly straightforward. I am not techie at all. And if I can do it, I promise you can too. So that's how you do that. And remember, half of this game is following up with them personally. So I've got it where it's going to start a messenger chat with them, and then they'll be added to my email. So I'm going to have that automated email fulfillment sequence for the opt-in that they're getting. So a lot of this hinges on email and your ability to personally follow up and see how it's going for them. Okay, if we're going to run a followers campaign so we can follow up with the followers, we can DM them, we can say, hey, what's going on? Thanks so much for following. I have this really cool new resource. Can I send it to you? Or, hey, what made you follow? Blah, blah, blah. This is what we're going to do. We're going to hit create. And then you're going to go to engagement. So know that there's no direct campaign objective for following. But what you can do is get profile visits. So we're going to choose engagement. Continue. We're going to do manual engagement campaign. And then you can call it whatever, like following, follower, whatever. You can do the budget however you like. That's fine. Okay, we'll go to the ad set level. And then honestly, I would probably do open targeting, but you can do lookalike if you want. So you could also retarget video views, up to you. So just name it, to indicate who you're showing this to. Conversion location. So we don't want to do message destinations. You could try that. That could be interesting to see, hey, are people going to just reach out? Like that could basically shortcut what we're trying to do here, right? So you could definitely try that. I know some high ticket coaches who do that, and then they have an appointment setter. Sometimes it works. You just have to be pretty dedicated to that. But what we're trying to do here is we're going to say conversion location, Instagram or Facebook. So it's getting people to engage with your Instagram profile. We're going to click that. And then in terms of performance goal, you can say page likes or Instagram profile visits. So that's what we're going to do. Make sure you have your pages accurate here. And then daily budget to whatever, $5 is fine. And then I would honestly leave audience controls open because here's the thing. These are just suggested, right? Like we'll show ads to people matching the suggestions and other audiences. Realize that the audience controls are just a suggestion, but if you only want like a certain country, that's fine. Now, so because notice how the objective is Facebook and Instagram. So how we try to control this, because I don't really care about Facebook page visits, but I do care about Instagram profile visits. So how we can attempt to control for this is in placements. When we go down under placements, beside Advantage Plus is where the AI does its own thing. We're actually going to click Edit, and then Manual Placements. And it's not going to be happy when you do that. Because our conversion objective is like Facebook and Instagram, we can't actually deselect Facebook like entirely. But when we come down here, I'm going to uncheck wherever it lets me anything with Facebook stories. Yeah, so it has to be either Facebook stories or Reels, it looks like, but you have to have at least one. So I'll say Facebook stories is fine. Otherwise, I'm just going to leave the things with Instagram checked. That's cool. And then we can go down to the ad level. And then obviously name it whatever represents your creative so you know which one it is. And then you can either create your ad or use existing post. I'm going to just create something, see if I have a video. And let's see here, video ad. Okay, as an example. Primary, right, this is your caption. So when you're putting in a caption, like if you're already pulling in an existing post, it will have a caption. But if you need to write one, try to give people a really good reason to go click over to view your Instagram profile. Like, why should they go look? Obviously, like, high value caption, like really intrigue them, like deliver true value. And then the CTA can be like, come join, 10,000 other people in, getting their goal. Or like, follow for daily tips, yada, yada. Okay, done. So you'll notice over here on the preview, you'll notice how the button is visit Instagram profile. So that's what we're getting here. So if this is interesting enough, if your creative is interesting enough, if your caption is interesting enough, they may actually click over to your Instagram profile. And so remember, this is going to require that your profile, like your bio, is optimized. Make sure that your Instagram bio is optimized or they will not follow. Okay, it needs to make sense for them to come from this piece of content. And so if they go to your bio and it doesn't match this, it's going to be confusing and they're going to click away. So make sure that you've really got your bio dialed in and it makes sense with the ad you're putting out there, okay? And then website events is your pixel. Make sure that is turned on and then you can hit publish. So then remember what you're going to do, because you will be getting followers from this. If your bio is interesting, if your content is good. And honestly, what I would do is when you see somebody follow, because you'll get a notification, click over to their profile, check them out, interact with their stuff, learn about them, like be a real human. My best advice is be a real human, okay? Don't make it weird. And then like that's going to be the best way that you're going to be able to actually authentically help the people who've chosen to give you that follow. Also, by the way, ManyChat does have it where you can automatically DM people after they follow you. So that could be a cool way to automatically send people, like ask people if they want to see your like super cool free resource, right? So have fun with it, test it out. So here's a bonus, really high leverage, probably the most high leverage way you can spend $5 on ads. And that's going to be a retargeting ad. So this will be retargeting anybody who's landed on a sales page of yours but hasn't purchased. So here's how you do that. We're going to go to your audiences in Ads Manager. That's like create audience, custom audience, and website. Next. And then you're going to make sure you're working with your pixel. And instead of all website visitors, we're going to do people who visited specific web pages, okay? I would typically do it in the last 7 days. If this is a launch and you really want to just get people when they're hot, they've checked out your sales page in the last 7 days, and we'll say URL contains, let's just say, so I would put in your website. Let's just say, for example, it's this. Say this is, yeah. So like this sales page, I want to target people who have landed on this sales page so I know they were checking it out. But I want to exclude anybody who did purchase. So then I'm going to say, I want to target people who were on my sales page, but I want to exclude people who, you know, over the last, say, so 180 days is the max, who visited, say, the confirmation page, which means they were a buyer, right? So if they landed on the confirmation page, challenge confirmation, it would be like, this is your sales page. So you want to target people who have visited your sales page in the last 7 days, but exclude people who landed on your confirmation page. So if they actually bought that thing, you don't want to be wasting money sending ads to those people again. So that's who you're going to exclude. And then so I would call this bottom of funnel sales page. Like I would do the product name, sales page, exclude buyers, create that audience. So now you can spend $5 specifically targeting those people. Okay. So you would just go to your campaigns. You would select create awareness or traffic, because you want to make sure that you're getting in front of that audience. But I think for this one, I would do awareness because I mostly just want to make sure that the people who have landed on my sales page actually see this ad. So I would call this bottom of funnel retargeting, and then retargeting, and I would add the product name, and then we can go next. And then, so I would just say targeting like sales page viewers, because remember, we just made that custom audience. We want to maximize the reach. Yeah, we want to make sure as many people in that audience see it as possible. You can keep everything the same. Daily budget, $5. Okay, and then audience controls, I'm going to switch to original audience options at the bottom here, because that's going to allow me to pull in my custom audience. Okay, so here I'm going to do custom audience. And here I'm going to select my bottom of funnel sales page audience that I just set up. Okay, and remember, I'm already excluding buyers, so I don't have to worry about that. And I just want to make sure that I'm targeting people in the countries that I want. So anybody in Canada or the United States who has landed on that page will see this ad. Okay, placements, I just leave. And then you're going to set up your ad. Now, think of the mentality of somebody who has already visited your sales page, but they just didn't buy. 4 pillars that need to be satisfied in order for someone to buy from you. They need to need what you're selling and want what you're selling, which if they've already made it to your sales page, those are probably satisfied. So then there's only 2 other reasons why someone wouldn't be buying from you. It's that they don't trust you or they don't trust themselves. So that is overcome with like testimonials and case studies, okay? And belief breaking, myth busting. We could do a whole nother video on sales psychology and retargeting if you want, let me know. But testimonials are a really good bottom of funnel retargeting sales strategy, okay? Because it overcomes that idea of, oh, other people like me haven't gotten this result. People always come up with excuses as to, I don't have time, or I don't have this, or I'm not pretty, or whatever reason they think they can't get the result. So if you show them testimonials or case studies of people who've been in their shoes, that tends to be really powerful. So you could do a carousel of testimonials, or you could do even a video of you saying, hey, here's a story of how my client, Jessica, went from point A to point B. Okay, you could do it in video, you could do a carousel, you could do any of that. Now, select your pages. Again, you could just post that as organic content, which could be really cool, or you could just create the ad. If it's organic that already exists, then you could just use existing post and pull that in, but you could also just create the ad, select the type, and then you're going to load it in. Primary text, remember that's your caption. Make sure that your website events is checked off. That's your pixel. Bada bing, bada boom. So this is important. If you're not seeing, like, where do I put in my destination URL? Like, where am I sending people? Look for this, add a destination, okay? Click add a destination. So then when you scroll up, this is really weird and wonky. So don't worry. Sometimes if it makes you feel crazy, it's not you. Sometimes it really is Meta. It's automatically selected instant experience, but I just want to send people to a website, okay? So this is retargeting ad. And I want to send people, you could either send them back to your original sales page, or one thing that can work really well is if you have a page that's just your website / testimonials, that can work really well if they want like more social proof. Because remember, there's a reason they went to your sales page, but they didn't buy. They were interested enough to go to your sales page, but they just didn't, there was something there they didn't believe enough that it would work for them. Sometimes sending them to a page dedicated to testimonials can work really well. And then at the bottom of that page, you could just have a link to check out. So that's what I would do. So you could put here your website / like if you have a testimonials page, or you could just send them back to the sales page. Now, one other thing you could do here, because again, your options are basically infinite. Instead of sending them back to your sales page, you could optimize for send people to Messenger. If you want to have that person-to-person conversation, if it's like a sales conversation needs to take place, that could be a really good option for you. Okay, so you can optimize for that messaging instead if you like. Okay, so once that's good to go, then you can publish and you're done. Getting clicks on your ads is one thing, but if you're sending people to a page and they don't take the next step, well, that's not great. So watch this next video. I show you all my tips and tricks to a high conversion rate.